Shut your mouth, broadcasting. First round draft pick. Believe we got stats, kid. Quarterback sacking. 100-yard dashing. So tap in for the action. What teams got traction? What teams are losing? Franchises ruined. Fans in the stand booing.
Welcome to the Sim Podcast Show. I'm your co-host Sirik, and I'm always joined by my co-host Ron. What up, Ron?
What's going on?
You know what we do? We talk about the NFL Football League on a weekly basis, including the playoffs. And this week is a special week because we got Thanksgiving coming up. We got the Thanksgiving games. What else? It's just my birthday tomorrow. It's just an action-packed week. Ron, we just had week 11. Are you believing now that the Patriots are a playoff team?
Well, not a very good one, but yeah, they're in it at this point. But there's definitely a lot of questions for sure about what games they could win the rest of the season.
Well, not only that, but then we're gonna have NFL news. We're gonna have our predictions. When we're also gonna have our reviews. And then, I'm going to give you an update on my brother and his Super Bowl pick. So here we go. Ron, we just had week 11, as I mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Let's review your team, the Pittsburgh Steelers, because they went ahead and not only do you pick them to win, but you did anyways, you picked them on your upset special. So what happened in this game? Because the final score does not reflect what we predicted.
Not at all. Caught me double dipping again. So I had Pittsburgh winning 21-17. They were a 4.5 point underdog, I think, when we put the scores down. They didn't play well at all in all phases of the game. Their defense, was atrocious. Offensively, after the second half, it was back to the same Matt Canada offense, and and I don't want to just blame him too. They just did not execute well at all in the second half. So it was a tale of two halves, and I think they teased everyone a little bit with what they can be offensively in the first half, but I think this loss was, it's going to be a huge loss. Season ending, I think, is how I would put it.
Well, it's not like, Pickett didn't play that bad. I mean, he did pass the ball a lot, 42 times. But, then you look at Joe Burrows, he was passing the ball 39 times. So what was the difference? I mean, Joe Burrows had 2 interceptions.
It was Joe Burrow. I mean, he's the difference maker, and we able to get him, a couple interceptions, but we just couldn't stop Higgins and the Samaje Perine out of the backfield at all. Burrow is a good quarterback. He's a great quarterback. The top 10 quarterback in the league, and he looked like it. And Pickett, he didn't play too poorly. I thought he played pretty well. I thought his decision making was a lot better. Thought he made some good throws. Thought he missed a couple though. I just think offensively, in the second half, the play calling became really predictable. And, one of the players for the Bengals even said that after the game. And, the whole entire game, we're getting ourselves into 3rd and long. And we, in the second half, we weren't able to execute at all.
Yeah, and there was no Jamar Chase in this game. And I'm looking at the stats here. T. Higgins, 9 receptions for 148 yards. What the hell? Where'd this guy come from? Isn't he the tight end?
No, he's a receiver, man.
Oh, wow.
He's really good. I actually heard someone, I think on ESPN, did his rankings for top receivers in the league. And they actually had T. Higgins in the top 5 for receivers. So, obviously a lot of focus is placed on Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase is one of the top receivers in the league, but Higgins is a beast. He's killed other teams before, not just the Steelers. He is a true number one, and Burrow, for him, it doesn't really matter who's out there. He's just going to make whoever is playing, he's going to elevate their game. So Higgins has been phenomenal. He's had a good season. He's just a great player. So it doesn't surprise me at all. I think the Bengals, the second half, made some adjustments offensively. And the Steelers had no answer for that on how to stop Higgins or the running backs out of the backfield. Could not figure it out whatsoever.
Yeah, because it's not like Cincinnati didn't rush the ball that well, 62 yards, but the passing, I guess, was pretty good. And you mentioned that the linebackers for the Steelers weren't covering the running backs at all. So is this a the death of the season for the Steelers?
I think so. This was a must-win for me. Obviously, in order for the Steelers to get to the playoffs, they got to be most likely over 500, and they got some winnable games coming up. But this was a game that they were leading in the first half, and they once again should have won. They didn't execute down the end. So I think the season's over. I don't think there's much that this team can do to rebound from this loss. They got to get better collectively on executing. They got to get better. They got to make some decisions too for next year, what to do about a lot of the players on defense, especially guys in the secondary that have kind of let them down. I think this was the second or third game that they've allowed a quarterback to go for well over 300 yards. So they've gotten toasted in the secondary multiple games, and they got to make some decisions on some of those guys.
So what's, I know this is early, but what are the Steelers' needs? I don't think the offensive line was that bad.
They were better, but I think it's still a need, especially the tackle positions. Like roster-wise, I think they gotta. I don't know. The jury's out on linebacker, middle linebacker. Bush has played better the last few games, but I think they could still use someone who can be a better middle linebacker, especially when it comes to covering guys out of the backfield. They probably need another pass rusher, even though both Highsmiths and Watt obviously are really good players. They can use a third one for sure. And then the secondary I just talked about, not very good. They need a shutdown corner for sure. Their safeties are okay, but they need a shutdown corner. And I think the most important part, though, about this offseason and what they need to do for next year, they got to find new coordinators, offensive coordinator, and then defensive coordinator too. I don't think Terrell Austin is it. And this goes back to what I've been saying for a while about Tomlin and his hires and how good of a coach he is. He's not an X and O's guys. He doesn't. His staff isn't very good. Has not really ever been. The guys that were good were like Dick LeBeau, and he's gone. So he's going to have to find coordinators that can be part of their future, or he might be the one out the door. So we'll see what happens by the end of the season.
Well, I don't know about that. There's no way. He's a Hall of Fame coach. They're not going to fire. He'll quit before they fire.
I guess what makes a Hall of Fame coach?
Wins. He has the 18th most wins.
I think
more wins than
wins or Super Bowls.
Three people that are in the Hall of Fame, 3 coaches, have lesser wins than him. Don't even have a Super Bowl. What? John Madden has one Super Bowl, and he's in the Hall of Fame.
I'm not putting Tomlin in the Hall of Fame at all. You can say that he's a good coach. People can say that all they want because, he has more wins than losses. But when you look at his playoff record, his Super Bowl success or lack thereof, that's not the Steelers standard. At least it's not what we talk about, what he talks about. I think you can just look at this next game against the Colts. Colts are favored. You're talking about a guy who hasn't, his only coaching was like in high school, right? And the Colts are favored over a Tomlin-led Steelers. So that to me, if Tomlin's a good coach, why would you not be favored against a guy who shouldn't be coaching?
Indianapolis roster is better.
No, I don't think the roster is that much better. I don't think the roster. You think Matt Ryan is better at this stage
than Kenny Pickett?
Kenny Pickett?
Yes.
I don't know. Smarter, maybe. Better, no.
Yeah, and I think, Najee Harris is a really good running back.
Mm-hmm.
But Jonathan Taylor is back. Anything can happen. I guess it was hiring Jeff Saturday gave the Colts the boost that maybe they need. They did, play well against the Eagles. Like, really well.
Yeah. But
1 minute left.
But that's comes down to coaching, right? Coaching, motivating players to play well. Going back to this game, you cannot say that Tomlin and his staff did not get outcoached this game. I thought they got completely outcoached on both sides of the ball.
I think in the second half, yes.
Yeah, the Bengals made the adjustments they needed to make, and the Steelers had no answer. We had no answer to stop Higgins. We had no answer to stop P. Ryan out of the backfield, and then offensively, it was a clusterfuck. It was just a hot mess. And then, again, I don't want to just blame the coaches too. The players have to execute. There were tons of times I was yelling at the TV screen because there were some really good play calls. Matt Canada had dialed up the right plays, a couple screen passes, and then you got you guys just missing their blocks, So you got the one play where Najee didn't take the handoff when he was supposed to. It's stupid, boneheaded plays that the players are missing. But that also, it goes back to coaching, right? Your head coach has to have you prepared. And this is a team that makes a lot of mental mistakes. And they're already, a team that offensively with the play calling, I think they're a step behind when it comes to play calling compared to other teams.
Yeah, the play calling, it wasn't great. And the defense, when you get blown out, I think they had a late touchdown, the Steelers did. So it made the score not too bad. But when it was a tight game, 27-23, they were, the Steelers were still in it. But
they couldn't do anything.
There's
no point in the third quarter I thought, okay, Steelers have this. There was no point. I felt comfortable. Heck, I honestly went into the second half saying, this shit ain't gonna last. There's no way we just put up 20 points in the first half. That's what I was thinking. I was like, this is a fluke, and there's no way we're going to come out and be able to repeat this in the second half. And sure enough, they weren't able to do that.
Well, they got to 30 points.
Yeah, well.
Can't say that. Can't say it was bad. And I think that might be the first time this season that they got to 30 points, right?
I think one other time they may have got to, I can't remember. But yeah, I think they jumped from last to maybe 28th or something like that in scoring offense.
8 penalties for 70 yards is not cutting. It's not cutting. You need to have a game. Anyways, you picked them as your upset special. I picked them just as my regular win, and they let me down. I'm not picking the Steelers ever again. So,
yeah, you and me both, buddy.
The other game is the New York Jets at New England. Whoa! Was this a non-exciting game to watch?
Snooze fest.
So they won 3-10. We both thought New England was going to score 20 points, but that wasn't the case. I think you knew it was going to be a low-scoring game. I just didn't think that Zach Wilson was going to error.
Yeah, and this loss is solely on two people, Zach Wilson and Robert Saleh, the head coach, because there's nothing I saw, and I watched this whole game, in that first 3 quarters that would have made me put Zach Wilson back out there in the fourth quarter. They had a better chance, and they all know it, of winning that game, and they should have won the game, the Jets, if they put Flacco in the game, and he refused to do that.
If they put Flacco, if they put Mike White, if they put anybody except Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
And, and I was looking at this game and I was just like, we're just basically waiting for somebody to make a mistake.
Yeah.
And,
Did you hear, by the way, I'm jumping ahead. You hear what Zach Wilson said at the end of the game when they asked him?
Yes. Yeah.
Did you think you let your team down? offensively, not scoring points. It's like, no, are you kidding me?
You know, I thought at the beginning of the season that Mac Jones owned the white privilege. I'm perfect the way I am, but I'm going to give that title to Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
And also the title of I'm not immature. Also the title of they're probably going to cut me in the summer. I know he's under the rookie deal, but it's only 5 years. And I think it's in there that we can cut you anytime.
Yeah. Or just,
keep him. Keep him as
keep him and don't play. Exactly.
Yeah, and don't play him. Yeah. Because he's so cheap. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the only thing that positive that I saw from this game was the Pats defense. I think that's a top 5.
I don't think so. I think it's easy to say that when you play teams like the Jets who are inept offensively. It's easy to say that when they're playing teams.
What would be a top 5 defense?
Like Detroit that can't, what
would be the top 5? Just answer the question. What would be a top 5 defense?
My top 5 defense in the league. San Francisco. I would probably go Buffalo. I got to put the Ravens at this point with all the acquisitions they have. Philly, assuming they're healthy. I don't know. I probably got to think about the last 2.
I would disagree with that, but I would include the Pats there because they basically are allowing fewer than 13, 15 points a game. I have to look at the stat. And every game, Matt Judon has a sack or 2, or sometimes 3. And for some reason, the rookies that they got are actually doing their job. Whether it's intercepting the ball, whether it's covering people when they switch from zone to man, they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. And I know that they just lost Barmore for a while, but everyone else is doing their job. It's the defense that's keeping them in the game.
Yeah, so I'm looking at top defenses. So at passing, you got 49ers, Bears, Bengals, Bills, Broncos. Against the run, you got Bears, Falcons, Bengals, Bills, Broncos. So, yeah, I mean, those are probably the top defenses. I look to see where the Patriots are at. And against the run, they're apparently not that well. But I think it's who you play. So Patriots have had a lot of fortune, right, in terms of who they've played. I think you've gone against some backup quarterbacks, if I'm not mistaken, throughout your schedule. It's not to say they aren't good. I think they have some good players for sure. But I think the bigger issue, when I think about the Patriots, it's going to be their offense, as well as, if you look at the statistics, Mac Jones, it doesn't look like he played too bad. But the play calling here too was just horrendous, and for the most part, they scored 3 points on offense. The Patriots did, so that's going to be their biggest obstacle is what can the Pats do to score points.
I think that I know what's going on right now with the Pats. They have a terrible offense, and I think Bill knows that, and he says, you know what, we have a terrible offense, but we have this great defense. And if the defense is playing like this, and we get points from the special teams.
What specifically on offense is terrible? Because, you and I and
Mac Jones.
Steve,
it's Mac Jones.
We're in a chat, and I know you guys, at least Steve was screaming for Zappy to come in, but Mac was 23 of 27, for 246 yards.
It's Mac Jones, and I think it's definitely the play calling. He got sacked
6 times.
The play calling, it's not at all. Matt Patricia is not coaching the receivers right. They're breaking when they're not supposed to, hanging onto the ball, which is, it's commendable because the other option would be to have a turnover, right? Whether a pick or fumble. But it's just not doing it. You have two good running backs. I mean, Damian Harris was balling the other against the Jets, but it's like there's only so much that they can do if the offensive line doesn't protect.
I think that's the problem. The offensive line didn't play well. They ran okay. Harris ran well. Stevenson did only average 1.7 per carry, but giving up 6 sacks, that's not to me on Mac Jones. It's like comparing when I look at Kenny Pickett and his performance this year. It's hard to judge, and I think it's unfair to say they're not performing when the offensive line hasn't been good. The play calling has been atrocious, and you got to look at the entire thing. And I think with the Patriots, I don't care who you would put back, at the quarterback position. It would have been a struggle with the play calling.
Okay, here we go. Patriots top 5 in points allowed at 60. I think that if they stay there, not allowing the other team to score 30, 20 points a game, they'll be in it.
Okay.
So I think that, again, they only need 3 more wins, and I think that this is a playoff.
Yeah. I think it's a playoff team. I think they are. I just don't.
And I think that...
I question how good.
I don't know what's going to happen. It depends on who they face in the first round, but you don't want to face a defense that's going to hold you from scoring. And I think that defense falls under that kind of...
So I get the impression that you're holding out hope that the Patriots are a team that can make a run in the playoffs. Do you think they're even capable of making a run in the playoffs?
I think that they can win the first round.
Based on what you saw against the Jets and Zach Wilson, you think they can win a game in the playoffs? I think
if they play the way that
3 points offensively.
If they play the way they play the defense, special teams, I think that they can hold team to mistake.
Okay.
Now, if they're the ones making the mistake, like happened, they did get some penalties on Sunday. The team did, which again, if you're gonna play clean, not gonna make mistakes, penalties should not be happening, especially after a bye week. But then, they lost their center, they lost their tackle on Wynn, which doesn't say much because it's not like he was great. But it's just, again, if you don't turn the ball over, if they didn't turn the ball over, I know the tight end had a fumble, but he recovered it. If they keep the games, because the Jets, are the Jets a good team or bad?
I think they're a bad team.
With Zach Wilson or without?
Depends. If it's Joe Flacco, I think they're an okay team. I just think Saleh is a pretty good coach, and he's dealing with not having a quarterback. And when I look at the Patriots and the Steelers, I think they're both good teams. But the difference is Patriots have a good coach and the Steelers do not. But I think they're okay teams, not great teams.
Like the Patriots had 8 penalties for 55 yards. Jets had 3 penalties for 50. 8 penalties is not going to cut it.
No, not at all.
No. 3 penalties is not bad. But the Jets defense was tremendous, and they still won this game. But it wasn't nothing to do with the offense, because the offense was bad. But again, we just have to deal with Mac Jones being terrible the rest of the season.
You're saying terrible, but what exactly did he throw? 5 interceptions or something? No, because that's not the game I saw.
It's not that he was throwing interceptions. It's that I don't know if the play calling.
Out of his 4 incompletions, what was bad?
The 6 sacks that they had in the game. So
that's all him?
Maybe even more.
That's him?
I don't know if that's him.
Yeah.
Because a lot of those were like the first play of the game, he got sacked. He didn't have a chance anything. That wasn't his fault. That was just a bad offensive line. But the other sack, he held on to the ball. The receivers weren't there, so he double pumped. Don't double pump, just throw it away. If it's not there, just throw it away. No double pumping.
I heard the same complaints about Mitch Trubisky when he first, he played the first 3-4 games or whatever. They're calling for his head or whatever. And when you sit down and actually watch him play, you're like, he's not playing bad. He's not the issue. And I don't think Mac Jones is really the issue. I think, the offense, and you're not scoring, it's easy to blame the quarterback. That's the first person you go to. But I don't, I think you got to look at like the play calling sometimes and say, what are we doing offensively? What's our identity? And what can we do to score points?
Yeah, the identity is they need to run the ball. They need to do the play action. And I thought that they would implement a little bit of RPOs in there. They did not.
Mm-hmm.
They did not. Okay, the other thing that I noticed was how terrible Zach Wilson was. I mean, is he the worst quarterback in the league? Worse than David Mills?
Yeah, I would take David Mills over Zach Wilson. As much as David has struggled this year, David Mills is much more talented to me in terms.
Worse than Russell Wilson?
Yeah. I'll take poor Russell Wilson.
So
and I can't stand Russell Wilson and his personality, but
so if you were the New York Jets and you just lost to the Patriots, this is 14 in a row, and the loss. I know Zach Wilson was like, not my fault, not my fault. Well, it was his fault. He was overthrowing people, underthrowing people, everything that you could possibly. Would you just say, you know what? Let's just go with Flacco if you were Robert Saleh?
I would, because this team is, what's their record now? 6-4.
6-4.
They have a legitimate chance just to be average, right, offensively, and make the playoffs in the state that the AFC is in.
Even without Breece Hall.
Even without Breece Hall, if they just are average, they can make it. You can't be average with Zach Wilson, I don't think. You can win games, and with Flacco.
Yeah, I was trying to watch some of the Jets' reaction during the day, and they were not holding back.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it was, the fact that he said no, the offense didn't let the defense down, whether it was like, because I feel like there was a narrative going into this game, and everybody was like, the Jets need to win this game to prove that they're a good team.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they are a good team no matter what, but Zach Wilson as your QB, you're not gonna make it.
Right.
You're not gonna make it. And for some reason, as you mentioned, Robert Saleh didn't change halfway. Even when it looked like you were gonna be in the overtime, he was still not making the change.
No. And he should have. And I thought he should have done it. If you didn't want to do it after halftime, he could have done it going into the fourth quarter, and they chose not to.
So they lost. It could have been in first place. Now they dropped all the way to the bottom. The upset special, we know you picked Cincinnati over Pittsburgh. My upset special is currently playing Arizona. It's Arizona at San Francisco, and they're playing this game in Mexico. And who's winning right now?
Cardinals up 3-0.
Okay. So I don't know how long that's gonna last, but no. All right, let's go to week number 12, because this is Thanksgiving week, and we're recording this on Monday. Thursday, it's gonna be 3 good games. So let's start there, because let's start with New England at Minnesota. This is the 42-point over and under with New England. No, actually, Minnesota's favorite, right?
Yeah.
By 3 points.
Yep.
So what is your prediction, Ron?
I got the Vikings rebounding after the ass whooping they just took in Dallas. There's no place to go but up, I would think, for them. So you say your defense is good. Let's see how good you are against one of the top offenses in the league. I got Minnesota winning 28-17.
I actually have New England winning 17-30. I think that for some reason, Minnesota their highlight reel was the defeat of the Bills, and Dallas defense made them be like, just a regular season. You need to calm down. And I think that they're gonna face the Dallas defense. They're gonna face a New England defense that, I don't think they're comparable, but they play just as disciplined as Dallas. That's why I didn't give them a lot of points. I don't know if New England gets to 17 points, but it's going to be definitely under. I picked the under. They're not going to get to 40.
So you got Patriots winning 17-13. I'll say this about Dallas. You know why they played good on defense? You know why?
Why?
Because they got their asses handed to them the week before. And that's exactly why Minnesota's going to rebound this week, because they're going to get their asses chewed out all week. It's a short week about their performance on Sunday. And they're going to have to, they're going to save face and say, this wasn't us. We can't play like that. And they'll come out and ball out. That's usually what happens when you get your ass kicked. So we'll see.
Well, we'll see, because I don't think, 4 days to recover. You're not even going to practice on Monday. Not even going to on Tuesday. Wednesday is your travel day. I just don't think that they have enough time to work on the Patriots, work on what we did against Dallas, work on. It's just not enough time, and I think that Bill already has scouts from at the beginning of the year, knowing that we're going to be facing a good running back, knowing that we're going to be facing a good receiver. And Kirk Cousins, a lot of it, I think, is just hype, to be honest.
I don't know. I think he's a good quarterback. I think he's declining, though. But he is, he's a good quarterback.
Well, we'll see. We'll see on Thursday if he's a good quarterback, because I just don't believe in the Kirk Cousins and the whole chain and the whole glasses. And what's that? I don't know his name, Huggins Cousins or something. I don't know, but I don't believe it. The other game, Tampa Bay is actually back from hiatus. They're playing Cleveland at Tampa Bay, 43.5 point over and under, with Tampa Bay 3 points favorite.
Yep.
What's your final score?
I got the Bucs winning at home, 24-20.
So you think Cleveland is going to score 20 points?
I think so. I think offensively, Cleveland, they do a couple things really well. One is run the ball, and I know Tampa's run defense specifically has been playing a lot better the last couple weeks, but I don't care how good you are. When you're actually on the field against players like Chubb or what's his name from the Titans, it's a different story when you're getting hit in the mouth by those type of running backs. So I think they'll be able to put up some points against Tampa. I just see Tampa winning it.
I see Tampa winning this game 28-17. I don't think Cleveland scores that many points. I think we're this is week 12. People have them figured out. They know that they don't really have the type A wide receivers. Amani Toomer, he's just average, let's face it. And they do run the ball, but again, Kevin Stefanski doesn't want to do it for some reason. If I was him, all my plays would be run-related plays. Forget Jacoby Brissett and passing. Everything, although they do have a good tight end, Cleveland does, but everything should be running the ball. Oh, Chubb, you're tired? Hunt, come in. It should be running the ball. Should not have this high scoring, we're going to just score a lot of points.
You think the Bills have a good defense?
The Bills, their defense sometimes laps. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. There's no consistency.
They scored 23 points against the Bills. Brissett had 3 touchdowns, 324 yards passing. Amari Cooper, 8 catches for 113. They're a team that can put up points and beat you. But
they can put up points, but then they can also give them up.
Mm-hmm.
It's a weird team because you should be winning the total time of possession every game. If you have two running backs like that, you should play keep away the whole time. But instead, I feel like Kevin Stefanski wants to show off and be like, I'm a good coordinator. Look at this team. I can put up points. You have a team that doesn't need to put up a lot of points. You have a decent defense. Just get ahead and play keep away. But again, who am I? What am I? I'm just talking off my head, right? I'm not like Cleveland Brown head coach. But I do believe that Tampa is a better defense than Bills. And I don't see Chubb or Hunt having the day, but you never know with Tampa. Hopefully after this bye week, they got things straightened out. So we both give Tampa a win. Pitt at Indianapolis, and we kind of touched on this game at the beginning. It's 39 over and under with the Colts favored by 3 points. Ron, what'd you give?
I got the Colts winning in Indianapolis 20-17.
I got the Colts winning 24-13, but then I might change that. I think I will change it. I'm gonna flip flop it to Pittsburgh winning 17. I'm actually gonna. That's not my upset special.
You just said
they have a better roster.
Yeah, you said you would never bet on the Steelers.
I believe in Mike Tomlin.
Okay, well, let me know how that works out for you. And I'm telling you as a Steelers fan. Listen, I think talent-wise, we have more talent. I just don't think coaching-wise, coordinator specifically, I don't trust our guys at all. And, Kenny being a young rookie quarterback and playing, like a rookie quarterback, we're going to see some struggles. And we got to 30 points this week. I don't see that happening again in this game. I think we'll struggle again, get back to what we've been doing, which is struggling to get to 20 points. So, I think it's going to be a tough game. I think Vegas has it right with Colts being a 3-point favorite.
I think that the money line is going to go towards the Colts, but I actually believe in Pitt pulling this one out. And I know I said I wasn't going to predict them to win anymore, but I'm not a big believer in Jeff Saturday yet. I know he has a win, he has a loss, but I think that he's going against the Hall of Fame coach. I think the first two games, Josh McDaniels, they got a mess at the Raiders. Tony Sirianni, he was crying because they fired Frank Reich. I don't think his mindset was right. He even said at the end, he's like, I wanted this game to be me against Frank Reich because he's my mentor, but the fact that he's not here hurts my soul. I'm like, right there, you're like, oh, his head was somewhere else.
And that's the reason they almost lost?
I would think so, because he just yelled into the crowd.
Yeah, I saw that.
After the game was over. He was not, his head was somewhere.
I think we need to give Saturday some credit. I don't think he's getting enough credit for changing the culture, changing the attitude of the players. 50, 60, 70% of it, winning football games, is about culture and just having players believe that regardless of the outcome, I'm going to go play hard. You'd be shocked to see how many teams that don't have players that give it their all. And right now, I think the Colts are giving it their all. They're playing hard for Saturday. That's why they almost beat Philly. That's why he won his first game. I think they'll continue to play hard for the rest of the season, regardless of the outcome.
I think they'll play hard, but I think that Pittsburgh. We didn't talk about the upset specials, but you picked Chicago at New York, and you picked Chicago to win. This is a 41 over and under with the Jets favored by 4.5. So what's your final score?
I got the Bears winning 27-24, and I don't know why the Jets are favored by so much in this game. I guess because Chicago can't win a game. They always seem to put up like 30 plus points. all led by Justin Fields, and they figure out how to lose at the end of the games. But I got Chicago winning this one. I think there's just too much. The Jets, in terms of the quarterback position, it's just too many questions about their offense for me.
I think that Robert Saleh is going to let up this week and be like, I don't want Zach Wilson to start. Because let's be honest, do you really want the season to go down the tubes because you refuse to let second-year quarterback sit on the bench? Are you really worried about his feelings? How much are you going to protect him? Especially after he said what he said on the stand. He basically threw the defense on the bus. Are you going to let that happen? Because then you're going to lose the whole entire team because you choose to protect this one guy.
Not everyone is Bill Belichick. Most coaches aren't. Most coaches will stick with the player who was drafted in the first round a year ago or 2 years ago and ride it out because they think that that person's their future. Bill Belichick will turn the page. He's already done that with Mac Jones once. He'll do it again if he needs to, whoever gives the best chance of winning. Most coaches aren't like that. So we'll see what Saleh does. I'm sure he's getting some pressure too, probably, from upstairs to play Wilson. But if it's in his best interest for the team to win, I would imagine he thinks Flacco gives him a better chance of winning.
Well, I'll say this. If Zach Wilson starts on Sunday against Chicago, your gut feeling is just that, a feeling, because the Jets are going to lose that game. If Robert Saleh doesn't start Wilson, Mike White, or Flacco, then I can see the Jets actually winning the game, because I just don't think Wilson is a good QB. I know that the second year, I just don't think he has it.
Yeah.
Anything else that you want to add?
I did want to say this about, because I look a lot at like the social media chats about Steelers mostly, and there's a lot of hate right now for Kenny Pickett. Some people wanting to turn the page, just draft another quarterback next year. People lose their minds. Yeah, exactly. It's really fast. And on there, I'm like, do I even entertain it, the conversation or not? But I think people need to stop and remember that these guys are young. Kenny Pickett's his first year. And if you were to look at like him versus like these other rookies, for example, their first year, Kenny Pickett's stats are just as good as any of them. But Justin Fields had a horrific first year. What's his name? Trey Lance was terrible, right? I don't think you can turn the page.
You can't talk about Trey Lance is injured.
Yeah, I don't give a damn if he's injured or not. But he's been horrible. I've seen enough of him to know that he's terrible. But
he's not ready.
Yeah, the point I'm making is you can't just look at a player 8 games in, 9 games in, even 2 years in, and say, okay, they're just not ready. Having said that, with Zach Wilson, I do think you can look at him and say, one, he's not mentally ready, right? If you're making comments like that after the games, mentally you're not focused. 2, and then like with your skills, to be that inefficient, inaccurate, make those type of mistakes, you're not NFL ready at all. And teams and coaches, players, ownership needs to admit when they make those mistakes and move, try to move on if they feel they need to, or at least bring someone in to challenge those guys if they really care about winning.
Well, that's what I mean is that if winning is the only thing that matters to you, especially when you play for a big market like New York, there's no way that you're gonna say, you know what, I'm sticking to Zach Wilson. If he outplays us to the bottom of the division, I'm still no. Because then you have a pretty good defense.
Mm-hmm.
So you letting all those guys just play for last place.
Yeah.
I think Robert Saleh will make a wise decision before the end of the game. And of course, it all depends on what happens in the game, which I think he'll have a short leash. Zach Wilson. if he starts.
Yeah.
If he starts and he starts just going downhill, he should be replaced.
Yes.
And if they don't do it, then that's coaching's fault.
Right.
The other game I'm picking for my upset special is the Raiders over the Hawks. Seahawks are favored at 2.5. It's a 47.5 point over and under. I think the Raiders will win 20-17. I know the Seahawks are coming off a bye week. They had a long time to look at film, look at why the Raiders are the record that they have. But I think that this is a game that the Raiders can win. I believe that. I know it's only one victory, but I think Josh is headed in the right direction. That's why I picked. That's my upset special. And while we're at it, let me just check the score. Oh, the Niners are up.
That was quick.
Oh yeah, that's not looking good for me. I said I would go on a quick update on my brother, and he lost in the playoff to Milton. Said the kids were crying. They were inconsolable, and they were very. Because he called me Sunday morning, and they were very confident about going into this game, but just wasn't meant to be.
Yeah.
So the season's over, but at least my nephew played really well. I don't know his stats are off the hand, but I'm sure I'll find out. And hey, small baby steps, right? It's baby steps. That's all you can ask for.
Yes, they had a good season regardless. Lot to look forward to, I guess, for them next year.
And we didn't really do NFL news when we started this recording. So let me just go down the list. So Gordon getting cut. What do you feel about?
The writing was on the wall with him and his fumbling issues. So not really surprised.
Tight end Pitt may be due to surgery.
Yeah, it looks like it's season ending, and it honestly doesn't matter. They had no idea what they're doing and how to use him. I think he's a unbelievable talent, and they were clueless how to use Kyle Pitts.
They should have. It should have been like using him like Kelsey.
Yeah, exactly. But
like just a big receiver. Chase Young coming back to Washington. What do you think?
Scary, considering how good their line has been, the defensive line already. Scary. And what's their record right now?
I think they're
Commanders.
6-4.
Hey, they're right there, right? This could be the difference maker for them.
Yeah, and
6-5. It looks like they haven't had their bye yet.
The only thing that worries me about the Washington Commanders is that Carson Wentz is coming back.
Is he going to play though?
I don't know if he's going to play. I know he's off injury list, and Heineke was just kind of like just there starting on his behalf. I just don't know with Carson Wentz how far they'll get. I know that defense is going to get better, but talking about Carson Wentz,
yeah, I don't. It wouldn't shock me if they stick with Heineke.
Ron Rivera making them changes. Talking about the Washington Commanders, are they gonna go on sale or no?
I don't know. I was gonna say looks like it, but I don't know at this point what's gonna happen with them. I was hoping I won that $1 billion lotto so I can think about buying their team, but that didn't happen.
Well, you can dream on. I'm sure that'll happen. I'm sure that $1 billion lotto will happen again and again and again.
It wouldn't have been enough anyways.
Well, I've heard that when you're part owner of a team, it's not just the revenue part of it. Like, for example, when the pandemic hit, all those people still had to get paid. Even though you had nobody in the stand, you had no way to make money. And basically, when you're like minority owner, you have to pay out. salaries. You have to pay out players. You have to pay out, whatever the concession stands don't make. So it's not, it's not always cracked up to be. It's basically rich people stay in your lane.
Yeah, it's a fraternity, right?
Yeah.
Even if I was a billionaire, doesn't mean I could go out and buy the team. The other owners need to approve it,
right?
Which is, I think, is crazy, but that's how it works. Doesn't matter if you have the funds. If they say no, we don't want you, then you can't be the owner.
Yeah, you cannot be the owner. And I don't have anything else to say. Do you have anything to add?
Not at this point. Glad the Patriots and the Bucs are still in it. And I'm glad at this point, to be honest, that I'm turning the page on the Steelers season. Can look forward to next year. I'll start to look. Well, I already pay a lot of attention to college. You don't watch a lot of college football, but I enjoy watching college and some of the players and prospects to come out for next year. So there's a lot of holes on the Steelers to fill. So I'm kind of excited to start that process next year. Can't wait till we get there.
Are you wishing for them to have a top 10 or top 20? What?
Yeah, top. This is the lower the better. I'm wishing that they lose every game from here on out, to be quite honest with you. And I hope the Bears do too, because we got their second round pick. I hope we can stack pick upon pick. And I don't know how good this class is compared to last year. I know there's some top defensive backs that are in there, a top pass rusher that's in there, but I don't know if it's as deep as the last couple of years. But if we can get 3 or 4 players in the top 35, 40 picks, that would be great.
Yeah, I'm excited for 2 things. Number 1, there's a chance that the Patriots are going to make the playoffs, and that chance keeps growing as they keep winning. And then number 2, and we haven't touched on this at all, the Celtics are beating the heck out of the league.
Yeah.
And I told you a couple of weeks ago, Tatum might get the MVP.
I don't care what happens in November in the NBA. Wake me up in January. Tatum can average 60 points a game and break every single record possible. But it doesn't matter what you do in basketball till we get to January and then we get into the playoffs. Because those folks tend to disappear sometimes, and the Celtics have done that before. So I'll start watching them next year.
You let me know when you get on the bandwagon.
Mm-hmm.
The other team is Boston Bruins. They also being the hell out of everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So this is an enjoyable moment for Boston sports, period, because all 3 teams are winning.
Yeah.
Are winning.
The Red Sox.
Granted, the Red Sox are winning. The Patriots are winning ugly, but they're winning.
Yeah. So it's around when that we start talking about what the Red Sox are going to do in terms of players and stuff, because I'm not seeing anything positive in terms of players that are wanting to re-sign with them. So
I really don't start paying attention until after they have the winter meeting. Then I kind of see the feedback from the owners, because they're the ones that basically tell what this meeting, the rules are not going to affect me. They're not going to affect the team. This is all the agents dealing and wheeling and seeing where they land, where they got the most money, blah, blah, blah. And as long as the Red Sox have time bloom there, I don't think that they're going to overpay anybody.
Oh, that ain't happening.
Yeah, that ain't happening. So I'm not as excited as, let's say, with Dombrowski. He didn't care what happened. He gave you the farm hand if that was possible. So it's just different tactical moves. So I'm not super, into the Red Sox right now. I'm just watching the Celtics. I'm just watching the Bruins, and the Patriots just handle their business. That's all they're doing, is handling. However they're doing it, they're just handling their business.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I can ask for. So with that in mind, I will say bid you. Oh, and I will wish you a happy early Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
All right, peace.
Peace.
Hey guys, thanks again for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Any questions or comments, feel free to hit us up on shutyourmouthpodcast@gmail.com. That's shutympodcast@gmail.com. You can also hit us on Twitter or on Instagram at SYM Podcast. Thanks again.